Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is the first time I could ever think where a major political party has sided with narco-trafficking, murdering, terrorist scum. You know, you play one of those clips from a Democrat who said, oh, there's no such thing as a narco-terrorist. They're just narco-persons. The ISIS and these narco-terrorists in our hemisphere use the same tactics. They use rape as a weapon. They skin people alive. They cut off their heads. They burn them to death. These narco-terrorists, if a politician opposes them, they kidnap their family. If they don't give them what they want, they murder their family. You can go to the Border Patrol here in the United States and you can say, draw me a map of the border, and on the Mexican side, tell me which cartel controls every inch of territory. And the border agents can literally say, mile by mile, which cartel controls which section of the border. Not the Mexican government. They don't control it. Which cartel? When President Trump declared these organizations foreign terrorist organizations, that wasn't just a talking point. That wasn't just a buzzword. It was a promise. A promise from this president to use hard American power to kill and to stop these terrorists, these enemies of the United States, from killing our families, from killing our children, from taking over our communities. And that's what President Trump is doing.
And the Democrats do not like it one bit. Welcome, my friends, to the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. One of the things we will be talking about is the closed hearing. We're only hearing people's reaction to it. Of course, it was not televised. Carlos brilliantly pointed that out. He's like, I don't see any video. And no, it was classified hearing. And the Admiral there, Frank Mitch Bradley, testified behind closed doors. But it's clear, and there was a Democrat who's just aghast and upset over the videos that show these strikes. And I'm looking to see if there are any videos from the same congressperson, Democrat, with a similar state of anguish over people in this country whose lives have been taken by drugs or by the crimes that are associated with the international drug trade. Also in the news of this afternoon and today, a lot of news about Somalia. A lot of it. And Ilhan Omar wrote an op-ed in the New York Times today. I didn't print it. I don't have it. Because I have so much other stuff. If you want, I'll get it tomorrow. But there are a few things that I do want to point out from that. You heard Steve Miller on these narco-terrorists. Let me just... Oh, the pipe bomber. The pipe bomber, Washington, D.C., the January 6th. The pipe bombs were put down on the 5th of January that year. Yeah, the day before the January 6th rallies at the RNC and at the DNC. And apparently, good old shoe leather, Brian Cole Jr. from Woodbridge, Virginia, has been arrested. There's not much being said about him right now, but apparently just good old investigative work by the DOJ has tracked this person down. He eluded, of course, authorities and law enforcement all throughout the Biden years. So I'm sure there will be more news concerning him for those of you that are extremely interested in that. A Navy admiral told lawmakers today there was no kill them all order from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Let me stop right there and say there should be a full apology splashed across the pages of the Washington Post. There will not be. The Jeff Bezos Amazon Prime Washington Post will most likely not have a story. Yes, why are you looking like that? It is. You know. You didn't know that. Yeah. It's the Jeff Bezos Whole Foods Amazon Prime Washington Post. He owns them all. And whatever else. So, yes, Amazon Prime Washington Post Whole Foods stuff. Yeah. Anyway, they ran this story that said there was this kill them all business, even though they were told by the administration it's not true. They did it on people who had knowledge of the meeting, they say, not even witnesses. It's just, it shouldn't have run as a news story, but it did because it went hand in glove, strange coincidence, with the video from the seditious six who were claiming that there were illegal orders that soldiers should obey and our military should be disobeying, illegal orders that should be disobeyed. So it seems to me, hand in hand, part of a campaign, perhaps, he says, that there was a story of what would appear to be, if you believed it, perhaps an illegal order. But Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley today, very clear, no such give no quarter or kill them all order was ever given. Period. The order was, now Democrats are complaining about it. Washington State Representative Adam Smith, the top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, says the order was basically destroy the drugs and kill the 11 people on the boat. Basically, two shirtless people clinging to the bow of capsizing an inoperable boat drifting in the water. How many thousands of people have been drifting with their lives, struck down by these drug cartels in America? How many thousands of deaths? And yet, Democrats don't seem to give the same amount of attention to it. Tom Cotton said it's gratifying that the U.S. military was taking the battle to the cartels. Other lawmakers, including a handful of Republicans, worry the campaign is pushing against the pushing against the bounds of laws that govern armed conflict. Speak up, boys and girls. Identify yourselves. Mike Turner of Ohio, Republican, one of the members of the House Armed Services Committee, said those on the committee are very concerned by the Pentagon's double-tap strikes. Quite frankly, the many members have very much concerns as to whether or not the accuracy of what information is being used is to the level for us to even know what's happening in the area. The members are very, very concerned. Okay. Another Republican, Tom Tillis, Republican, North Carolina, questioned whether the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, where did he go when he said he left the room? Where did he go? Where did he go? I'll take it at face value right now what Secretary Hegseth said. He said he wasn't there. He was busy doing other things. I would assume a part of the record was what were the other things that he was doing that's more important than a battle damage assessment on the first strike in the Caribbean. He said he wants a detailed account of what the Defense Secretary did. Thanks, Tom. North Carolina. Okay. We've covered that top story. We covered the pipe bomb. We have other things. We have Somalia in the news. We have airports in the news. Yes, Carlos, we have airports. I'm looking at the clock. Let's squeeze this in real quick. Let's go to cut number 15 and then 14.
In a busy time, and again, the airports are going to be packed. TSA lines may be a little longer. And as you might not be able to find a seat as you're by your gate because of the number of flights that are going out or coming in. But I think we have to think about how do we do a better job? How do we, maintain maybe some of that frustration we have as we travel this Thanksgiving season? Maybe we should say please and thank you to our pilots and to our flight attendants. I think, again, I call this just maybe dressing with some respect. Whether it's a pair of jeans and a decent shirt, I would encourage people to maybe dress a little better, which encourages us to maybe behave a little better. Let's try not to wear slippers and pajamas as we come to the airport. I think that's positive.
And that, my friends, has set off a fury of anger around the country. In fact, he was at the cabinet meeting the other day, and he said this at the cabinet meeting. This issue is boiling up.
Mr. President, a lot of us, I fly commercially, I fly back by the bathrooms. I don't know why that happens. They put me in the back. We've asked Americans to bring their better selves, to bring civility back to travel, to say, listen, let's say please and thank you. And if someone's pregnant on your flight and you're as strong as Pete is, we'll pick up the bag and help her put it in the overhead bin. Let's be nice to each other, is what we've asked. Maybe not wear pajamas or slippers on the airplane. And I think it's been received fairly well, and I think we can all have a better travel experience when we do that.
Travelers wear pajamas to airports in protest. The Washington Post. People are now... They will protest anything. They're protesting the Secretary of Transportation by purposely wearing... Yes, Carl.
This makes no sense because the airlines give you sometimes pajamas so you can be more comfortable in the plane.
They don't give you pajamas. What airline is that? They give you slippers if you're first class. If you business class, if you're first class, they might give you some slippers. What airlines do you know giving away pajamas? Hell, they don't even want to give you popcorn. They barely want to give you a drink of water. In fact, on some of these airlines, you got to pay for it. Oh, I can't get over this. Now you have protests. People wearing pajamas.
The Rush Hour with James Golden
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for ways to keep the kids entertained while traveling? Netflix Games lets them jump into fun, creative adventures at no extra cost. Everything's unlocked with your Netflix membership. From Paw Patrol Academy and Lego Duplo World to Barbie color creations and World of Peppa Pig. There's something for every little explorer. And you don't need Wi-Fi. Kids can play anytime, anywhere. Visit NetflixFamily.com/travel tips for all your kids' holiday entertainment.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yeah, my friend, I can't believe it. Carlos, you said that Transportation Secretary, who, by the way, I think is the best Transportation Secretary we have ever had. What he's doing, modernizing the airlines in record time from analog to digital. Also being very proactive about making sure the highways are safe, getting rid of these illegal commercial driver's license. Well, this guy's just amazing. But you said he needs to do what?
Pick his fights.
I think you said he needs to mind his business.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
Because
he's messing around too much, and he's going to find out. Okay, so, and then I heard from America's Small Caffeinated Mom, who let me know that one of the very big box retailers, one of the biggest in the world, has an airport casual section in the store. And that section is PJs. I said, hey, are they selling pajamas or are they just selling those ugly sweatpants? And she said, the ugly ones. She said, they're selling PJs to go in the airport with. Now, look, I thought it was a little strange when I first saw it. Yeah, I did. Because here's the thing. If you're sitting in the cattle car section of the economy cattle car, where you can barely move, where if you have a laptop, forget about it. You can't even open your laptop fully anymore on one of these cattle car seats. If someone tries to move their seat back, they're crushing your knees. How many fights? And I think one of the reasons that so much ugliness is happening with travel now is because of the way that airlines completely disrespect their customers. And it's been awful. Anybody that remembers what it used to be like, and I wasn't even in the golden age of the airline business. I was in the, 70s, but flying has become ugly. I mean, these planes, it's just like pack them in like cattle, pack them in like sardines, unless you can pay for first class. And even first class isn't what it used to be. Now, if you're going international and you have international first class with the beds and the little personal cabins, that's kind of cool. Do you ever look at the price of those tickets? It's crazy. A lot of people saying, yeah, we'll dress better when the service gets better. Stop treating us like animals that are flying cargo. So, I want to take some calls on this on Saturday. We'll be back. Don't go away. We still got to do Somalia. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Can you shed any light on why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
I think when you have programs that have billions of dollars and they're set up so quickly, people can. That, of course, Representative Ilhan Omar, she was on with Jake Tapper, on this day in 1951. Gary Rossington was born, American musician, founder of Lynyrd Skynyrd, passed away in 2023, age 71. The music lives forever. This, of course, Lynyrd Skynyrd's anthem, Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama, where skies are blue.
This holiday season, help the Red Apple Audio Networks feed those in need. Go to the redappleaudionetwork.com/turkey. That's where you go. The website, redappleaudionetwork.com/turkey. Join Red Apple Audio Networks, AARP, New York City, the Police Athletic League, Aristides, D'Agostino Supermarkets, and Nationwide Imaging Services as we deliver holiday meals to more than 5,000 families across New York.
Go to redappleaudionetwork.com/turkey. That's redappleaudionetwork.com/turkey. Okay, we started on Somalia. Here's a few things. By the way, one more deal on this. I'm going to take calls on this on Saturday. We can't take calls now. Too much to do in this quick hour. But Saturday, we're going to revisit this whole airport thing. I mentioned calls. Mm-hmm. What? You going to call? You're going to call? I can't wait. Carlos says he's going to call. Let's hold him to that, folks. Carlos said he's going to call on Saturday. This is awesome. Look, come on, folks. You've seen this. In the summertime, you see some of these little chickie poos get on the plane and their butt cheeks are all hanging out. And I always wonder, how are they putting their butt cheeks on these seats? Ill. Number one, because their shorts are so high up, they're almost belts. They're almost showing all the JJ, right? And so they go in and then they put their smear on the seats on top of whoever's smear is already on the seats. You see people with their shoes off, with their stinky feet on people's arm rails and their feet all over the place. I'm just like, now look, I've taken my own shoes off plane, but I have socks on. Now, I'm not walking through airports barefooted. Okay, nasty. Or if I don't have socks on, I keep them in the shoes and just slip them out a little bit. I mean, nasty. But you see nasty stuff on these airplanes. And I wonder how people, America's small caffeinated mom says she's going to consider wearing a hazmat suit the next time she has. And now you have these people with their PJs and you just have to wonder, can I just say the truth? You have to wonder about the funk underneath. You have to wonder. Is it, so, Lady Benedict and Sir Bruce were on like a world spree over the summer. They just went all over the world. And they came back and they were both like ill. I'm like, where do you think you got sick? On the plane. It's a petri dish you're flying around in. And that's before these people with their nasty attire and their half-naked selves getting on planes. It's just disgusting. So when I first heard the transportation secretary say, hey, would you folks mind just, like, dressing and being nice? Stop yelling at people. Now, again, I think part of the reason that people are so ticked off on airplanes is because it is a horrible experience if you're in economy. It's horrible. And these airlines don't give one rat's behind. You know, and then have you ever been on the airlines where you're the person? See, I've been two ways, okay? I've been the person that used to be skinny. And you're sitting in between two people that are not. And it's a really ugly experience. And then, as I got older, I became one of the people that's not skinny. And I feel sorry for the skinny person sitting next to me in the middle seat. Because my blubber was hanging over part, you know, when you sit in that seat and you got, it's disgusting. Nobody wants to be that close to somebody, especially if you don't know them. And so these airline people, well, dress nice. Well, damn it, make the flights nice again. And maybe people will dress nice. But I'm not criticizing the secretary. Okay, Somalia, we started with that. Now, folks, let me show you to what extent Democrats are going to. The Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison. Now, before I play this cut, in all fairness, Keith Ellison has prosecuted some of the fraud, a little bit of the fraud. But apparently there's more to that story. And so, on the floor of the legislative body out in Minnesota, Representative Harry Niska, who's the House floor leader, was speaking about the Attorney General's role. And listen to the Democrat reaction for him trying to get the truth out.
Recently released audio recordings reveal conversations that happened between the Attorney General and individuals who were later implicated and in some cases convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. In those recordings, the Attorney General...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
State your point of order.
Since 124, paragraph 1, in debate, members must confine remarks to questions before the body and avoid personalities. The debate here is not any individual. It is the policy and the amendment.
Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General was asked in those recordings to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing, and rather than distance himself or remain neutral to allow the legal process to unfold, he responded in those recordings, "Of course, I'm here to help."
Mr. Speaker, point of parliamentary inquiry.
State your point of parliamentary inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, there was a point of order, and I didn't hear a ruling or any resolution of the point of order. Was there a resolution to it?
I'll remind the body that there was no ruling made by the Speaker as to the point of order that was just stated. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General in those recordings even urged the individuals, let's go fight these people. He was offered campaign contributions during that meeting, contributions that he later accepted. The release of those audio recordings raises questions about what's going on in the Attorney General's office that go directly to the need to pass the legislation that we had previously debated, House File 20. Although he has insisted that nothing came of the meeting, his office lost disclosure of closed investigative
point
data.
of order.
Since 124.
The A11 will help ensure that what happens behind closed doors in the Attorney General's office sees the light of day. We can protect people's privacy while shining a light on what the Attorney General's office is doing, who is influencing that office, whether it's those under criminal investigation, nonprofits, corporations, or billionaires with political agendas, because Minnesotans have a right to know when their Attorney General's office is working with them. Minnesotans have a right to know whether the Attorney General is telling the truth, that nothing came of that meeting. That's why the A11 is so important.
All right, so Democrats did all they could to interrupt this story, the narrative of what happened with A.G. Ellison. And this needs to be looked at in this scam, where he's allegedly, now I say allegedly, audio recordings of him talking with some of the people that later were involved with this $1 billion scam, and let's fight this thing together, and took campaign donations from them. Needs to be looked at, wouldn't you say? But Democrats doing their best. Point of order, point of order. We're not supposed to mention his name. Why are you talking about a Democrat? Please. Okay, Keith Ellison was on with Anderson Cooper recently, asked if he would do anything different in this whole $1 billion, and this is just one scam. There are a bunch of scams in Somalia that involve the community, members of the community. Not the community, members of the community out there in good old Minnesota.
I do want to ask you about the fraud scandal. I mean, because the president's comments seemed at least in part fueled by, or he's talking about this fraud scandal that we mentioned earlier involving that charity called Feeding Our Future. The vast majority of these 70 defendants charged in the case were Somali. For perspective, those are nearly 80,000 Somalis in the state. How much, critics have said the state officials, including you and the governor, did not act fast enough or quickly enough to investigate charges of fraud against the Feeding Our Future, and did little to flag their allegations to federal authorities. I know you said it was the federal government that didn't move fast enough. Is there something you wish you had done differently?
No, first of all, the Department of Education denied claims when questionable claims were made about these meals. My office went to court, explained that to the court. A judge actually found the department in contempt for denying claims. And we cooperated fully and worked well with the FBI. We're glad that we took the action that we did.
All right, so, and as I said, his office did, in all fairness, prosecute some of the fraudsters, but that's not what's being alleged here. What's being alleged is that his office, he also worked with others. Need to get to the bottom of it.
All right, the Obamacare stuff is starting to rise up, too. Chuck U. Schumer, House floor, cut 12. Here's Chuck U.
President, today I'm announcing that Senate Democrats will introduce legislation for a clean 3-year extension of the current ACA tax credits. This is the bill, a clean 3-year extension of ACA tax credits that Democrats will bring to the floor of the Senate for a vote next Thursday, and every single Democrat will support it. Republicans have 1 week to decide where they stand.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Republicans, blah, 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 blah. What's going on is that he wants a 3-year the way it is. Let's just keep going and handing out these big dollars to insurance companies that are already filthy rich from this Obamacare ripoff that Democrats put in place. If the Affordable Care Act was so affordable, why does it need subsidies in the first place? Mike Lawler, and I have to admit something here, I had a knee-jerk reaction to this. Mike Lawler spoke, New York Representative Mike Lawler, with a group of others about there's 35 bipartisan members of the House that are trying to work up a counter-proposal in the House. This is what he said.
Thank you, Henry, and thank you to Josh and Jen for organizing this today. You know, it's very easy to vote no. It's very easy to say what you're against, and it's very easy to point the finger at the other side. It is a lot harder to do the work of legislating, and everybody here is committed to actually legislating on the issues that matter to the American people, on the issue of affordability, on the issue of addressing healthcare costs, housing costs, energy and fuel costs, and food and grocery costs. That is what the American people expect us to do. They expect us to work together in a bipartisan way to actually come up with solutions. And the reality is, if you want to make lasting change in this country, if you want to
so here's what Mike Lawler says. He wants to do a bill with these Democrats and Republicans that actually does some reform. It's a 2-year bill instead of a 3-year bill. And in it. Now, when I first heard he's working with Democrats, I said, okay, he caved to Democrats again. After listening to the full soundbite, I changed my mind. That's not what he's doing. They're actually trying to come up with a solution. Part of the reforms that they want to do is address some of the concerns about these subsidies going to people that are pretty well off financially and yet being subsidized by people who are not part of Obamacare. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. This thing does not have enough votes so far to even make it through the House. So this is going to be a contentious battle. We can revisit it later. Matter of fact, maybe I should try to get a hold of Mike Lawler and actually talk about this stuff. Maybe that's in order, if I can. Anyway, James Golden, Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
TikTok, I'm asking for your help. I'm at the county jail and I came here with my husband to pay some debt, and there were ICE agents outside and we didn't notice, and when we were walking out of the county jail, they were waiting right there in the corner, and they just took him from me, and I'm asking for help. We have 5 kids that need their dad. Please help me.
The Democrats going to have a cow about this. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services is shortening how long work permits remain valid. You hear that? If you have a work permit, they are shortening how long it will be valid. It's cut down. They're going to cut it down from 5 years to 18 months. Every 18 months, you'll have to reapply. And what they're saying is reducing the maximum validity period for employment authorization will ensure that those seeking to work in the United States do not threaten public safety or promote anti-American ideologies. Say after the attack on the National Guard service members by an alien who was admitted by the previous administration, it's even more clear that there has to be more frequent vetting. So, Democrats will, of course, have a cow. We got to go, right? May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for being with you, allowing me to be with you. And, of course, I love this. God willing, we are back tomorrow for the already It's Friday again edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest 1 hour in American media. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.